Hey kiddos, this little baseball cap here, believe it or not, this was mine. I used to wear this when I was a baby. Apparently I was young, but I had a big head, so this was my baseball cap, you guys. Story of when I was a kid, when I was a baby. All right, this part of the book says, using all five senses, describe your earliest memory. Describe what you look like in your baby pictures. Are you smiling? Are you crying? Is someone holding you? Well, whew. So when I first read this question about using my five senses and baby pictures and what have you, the one picture that popped out at me, because as a kid, I always remember seeing this baby picture of myself. I was probably about 3-4 years old. I believe we were in Disneyland or something. I think my mom had taken us to Disneyland. Anyhow, I have light colored hair, light brown hair, and it's about shoulder length, kind of scraggly looking. I'm wearing a denim jacket, some denim jeans, and I'm running. But in the picture, you can tell that my arms are kind of over exaggerated and my legs are barely moving. So it looks like I'm running, but I'm probably just over exaggerated running, being a little kid. But that's one picture I remember. Another picture I remember of me as a baby is there used to be this lady who owned a pony, and she used to walk around the neighborhood with her pony and knock on people's doors and ask if they would like to take a picture of their children or have their children's picture taken on top of the pony. And she would set you up on top of the pony in your front yard and take your picture. And I don't remember exactly how it worked, how she got it printed fast, or if she came back the next day. I don't remember. But anyhow, that was one picture I remember, is me sitting on top of a pony with a little vest, cowboy hat, red cowboy hat. I look like Woody, actually, from Toy Story. Now that I think about it, but that was back in late 70s, early 80s maybe. But anyhow, that was another picture I remember. The other part of this question was, using all five senses, describe your earliest memory. And that's a tough one, that's a tough one, because to think of my earliest memory using my five senses: sight, touch, smell, taste, and hear. It's kind of hard to think of it. And then looked over and I saw some of these little cars that I have here in my little collection. I've got a few cars. Anyhow, just as a memory of my childhood. Obviously, the Dukes of Hazzard card, memory of my childhood. So the one memory I can think of was, I remember having those cars in my pocket. So walking, I could feel these cars in my pocket. I would kind of move them around in my hands, in my pocket. Then I would sit in the cool sand. There was some sand right there, and it smelled, it smelled like the beach. It smelled like fishy water. The sand smelled like fishy water. And there was seashells in the sand, and I would make a pathway, kind of like a makeshift road for my Hot Wheel cars, for my little cars, and I would drive my cars around, make dips, make hills, make jumps. So I would sit there, smell the fishy smell, feeling the cool sand on my, on my butt or on my hands, whatever. Playing with my cars. So I'd be in my own little world, just playing with my cars, just in the sand, crashing against the seashells and what have you. But then off in the distance, I would hear a faint yell. So the teacher would yell, "Kids, line up, get in line, time to go back to class." And that's it. I'd gather up my cars, shake the sand off of it, throw them in my pocket, take that sand off of my hands, dust myself off, and go and get a line. And I'd be sitting in class, and I could still smell that little fishy smell. It kind of smelled fishy. Smelled my hands, it was pretty fishy. So what I would do is, we had these markers. Some of you remember these. Remember, this video's for my grandkids, so, and they might still be around, but we had these markers that were called, brain fart. Etch something. Oh my Lord. Anyhow, they were scented markers. And they would smell like grape, strawberry, apple, watermelon, cherry, what have you. So my favorite one was the grape one. So there I was smelling the fishy smell of the sand. So I'd get the grape marker and take the cap off, and I would smell it, and I would smell it, and I would smell it. And then the teacher would yell, "Hey, put the marker away. It can't be, it's gonna dry out." So I'd sit there and paint my hand and put the cap back on it. Then go like that, rub my hands together. My hands were blue and what have you. But yeah, that was a good memory, playing in that little sandbox. And what it wasn't even a sandbox. They would irrigate the fields at our school. So it was like a drainage ditch that came off of a canal. And what they would do is open the gate, and then the water would come through. So on the other side of the wall was the canal. So we couldn't see it. We couldn't get to it. It was a block wall. But they would open the gate, and it would come through this little block, just drainage. It looked like a drainage pipe, half a drainage pipe. And then when it would come out, all the sand would come out, and the seashells would come out, and what have you. We're in Arizona. There's no seashells here. So who knows where those came from, but they came out of that drainage ditch, and I played with them. That's where I played with my Hot Wheels at. And I think it's pretty neat how smells and sounds and certain things can just spark deep memories, go way back. It's like my grandparents, when I smell coffee, the smell of their house, when you walk in on a Sunday morning, something cooking and coffee. When I get that smell, I remember my grandparents. And today I can still hear the engine of my grandfather's truck when he would change gears. He drove a manual truck, and in between gears you can hear the motor. It's kind of revving. Boom, boom. Pretty cool. I can remember those. I remember that sound. I remember the smells. And I know right now with Anna living here, there's certain smells she's going to remember, hopefully. I know there's a certain hair gel I use that she loves it when I use it. She always says it smells like gummies, and just talking about bubble gum. It smells like bubble gum to her. That's what she says. So every time she smells that, she's gonna remember me. Like I said, certain smells I remember my grandparents. But anyhow, I think that's my rant for today. Using my 5 senses to describe my earliest memory. And like I said, my earliest memory was playing in that sandbox at school, which wasn't even a sandbox, smelling like fish and smelling the grape scent markers. And I still can't remember. I want to say they were called Sketch-O-Matics or Scent or Sketch-O-Scent something. Who knows? I know they smelled good. And if you remember what these markers were called, leave a comment. Let me know what they were called. I can't remember. But so that's going to do it for me, guys, in this book. And on the next one, I'm going to be going through a few pages in one video because they're just simple questions. And I want to keep it simple. After all, this is for my grandkids. And I want them to know my story, but I don't want them to get bored either. That's why they're not here with me now listening to this, because they're too busy. They're too young. Sooner or later, they're going to want to hear my story, just like I wanted to hear my grandfather's story. But unfortunately, I never got to really, truly hear his story, which is why I started this book, My Grandfather's Life, so I can tell my story to my grandkids. And not only in the book, because I kind of have sloppy handwriting, but I wanted to do it in video format here on YouTube. It gave me an excuse to start my YouTube channel, which I was procrastinating on for quite a long time. And I finally did it. I took the leap of faith and started my YouTube channel. And check out my other videos and see what I got. So that's it. I'm gonna get out of here. Have a good one. And don't forget, whatever you're going through could be worse. Keep your head up. Stay blessed. All right.